This is Architecture 360, our weekly look at architecture, place, and space. I'm Lee Bey. On North Broadway in Chicago, there's a religious center where the devout and faithful attend. Now, you wouldn't know it now, but that same place, was once a dance club called AKA's. And during AKA's heyday in the 1980s, a devout of a different type attended. They packed the dance floor as DJs spun house music tracks until deep in the night. Stuff like DJ Frankie Knuckles and Marshall Jefferson's Move Your Body, the song you're listening to now. This month's death of Knuckles, a house music pioneer, has put renewed attention on house music, a dance music born in Chicago clubs that went international. Knuckles had such a big hand in developing and popularizing the music, they called him the godfather of house music. Now, the music endures, but what about the old clubs where the music was once played? Well, that's a different story. Next on Architecture 360.
Move your body, sexy body. Move your body, sexy body. Move your body, move your body, move your body. It's gonna set you free. Move your body.
House music got its name from the Warehouse, a club started in 1977 at Adams and Jefferson, just southwest of the Loop and not too far from what was then called the Sears Tower. Knuckles and other DJs cut their teeth there, spinning a mix of disco, R&B, European dance music, and obscura. DJs mixed one song after another, creating an endless wall of sound that lasted for hours. And it was a different Chicago then. The South Loop, the West Loop, and the near North areas, all hot now, were a bit dicey and off the grid back then, especially on nights and weekends. So clubs like Sauer's Restaurant at 23rd in Indiana and the Playground at 14th in Michigan, all these places, along with the Warehouse and the power plant, stepped in and flourished. You could even find house music out in the neighborhoods by the 1980s. Da Vinci Manor was a former movie theater turned into a banquet hall that was located at North Avenue and Central. Mendel High School at 111th and King Drive hosted almost weekly house music sets on weekends and Fridays that Southsiders still talk about. It was adaptive reuse, as they say in architecture circles. Old commercial spaces and otherwise fading restaurants were repurposed to incubate this growing movement. And it was a young movement, so much so that some venues had juice bars and water stations set up because many of the dancers were not yet old enough to drink. And if you couldn't make it to the clubs, or your parents wouldn't let you, as was the case with me, the old WBMX FM would play house music tracks and mixes from late Saturday night until early Sunday mornings, featuring a crew they called the Hot Mix 5. That's Stay With Me by the NYC Peach Boys, remixed by New York DJ Larry Levan, who was a contemporary of Knuckles. Levan held court at the Paradise Garage Club at 84 King Street in the Big Apple. Levan held sway over garage music, a post-disco movement in the 70s and 80s that was very much like Chicago's house. In fact, many urban areas had similar things going on at the time. In Detroit, for instance, there was techno. And like Levan, Knuckles and other Chicago DJs went from mixing records to producing their own music, and with success. And thus, they brought house to an international audience. Among Knuckles' hits, It's a Cold World with Jamie Principle on vocals.
In my own fascination, I see no open arms of love. I feel your resistance, now you feel my distance.
But what happened to those old house music venues? Well, all of those old clubs are gone now. The Warehouse is an office building again. A Walgreens sits on the site of Da Vinci Manor. Sauer's and other places on the near south side were lost during one of the McCormick Place expansions. Mendel High School is now Gwendolyn Brooks College Prep, a Chicago public school. No house music sets are held there. Such is the life of a dance club, I suppose. You live fast and die young. Even Levan's Paradise Garage in New York is long gone. It's now a Verizon phone facility. But thankfully, the music evolves and endures. To see the buildings in today's show, tap the headline, then tap See More. I'm Lee Bey. Catch you next time on Architecture 360.